You are such a gorgeous specimen. Such a bright light and vivid color, too. How lucky I am to see a will-o'-the-wisp like you. It's rare to see one of you alone like this. A pack fae needs to be with its kind. But you don't look to be malnourished or in distress at all. You look content, just bobbing on the streams of wind. Is it that you're the first of your siblings to rise? The sun will go down soon. Are you just the first to emerge from your hidey hole? Are you that eager to show some wandering traveler the way? There must be something important you want to share, huh? I can see it in your spark. You're just nervous. I wonder what prophecy you're planning to lead me toward. Is it my destiny to find my demise? I mean, really, demise is just death, so technically everybody's going to find their demise. That was actually a really morbid thought. I don't know why I just said that out loud. It was kind of like one of those intrusive thoughts, like when you want to jump off a cliff or something, which, like, obviously I would never do, but sometimes your brain just says, do it for a split second, and I did used to wonder when I was younger if I was under the influence of a fae of some malicious intent, but I was naive, and then I didn't really understand the nature of fae and their impact on mortals. But you wouldn't do that. You're just a little will-o'-the-wisp. Tempting little light that wants me to follow the strings of fate to whatever's at the end. Together with your family, you create a hypnotic pull that it's almost impossible to ignore. Or maybe it's just the temptation of being led to love or riches or power that makes mortals stumble over themselves to follow you. Alone, though, you cannot create the arrow to destiny. And I'm sure many people would consider you to be useless. But you aren't malicious, and you aren't useless, are you? You aren't useless just because you need others to help you fulfill your role. And you aren't just a flame like phosphorescence caused by gases of decaying plants in bogs and marshes. That's just a ridiculous concept created by people who don't even believe in Thom, despite interacting with it constantly in its mundane form. Yet that's the price of an analytical mind. We're always trying to understand the world around us. And so often we are failing. So will-o'-the-wisp. If you're pointing to destiny, do you think that you could point me to mine? You see, I'm in a bit of a pickle here. I wanted to be able to help, but I'm afraid that I'm causing more harm than good. Especially for Scout. Should I give up and let somebody who isn't a bumbling mess take over my research? Or should I see this through to the end and really find out what's happening to the creatures around the wards? I know I'm not much. I'm not very fast or strong and charming, but I do know about the forest and I love it so much, and I don't want to see the fae here. Like you. I don't want to see you get hurt. I want to help everyone, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do that, but does that mean leaving all of this to someone who is more capable? Or does it mean pushing through? Do you think that maybe you could point me in the right direction? No, wait, don't go. Hello, Scout. I'm not pouting. I just love to get some fresh air. I'm still very close to the cave that we've been taking shelter in, and I would have been back inside for you to establish the ward before the sun was fully set. I am capable of adhering to safety protocols. The griffin was an unexpected variable. There is no way that I could have predicted that one was still alive, much less actively hunting us down. I mean, they've been thought to be extinct since... Oh, yes, that's correct. Since the mid-1400s, when their feathers were popular courting gifts. You were listening. Or, I mean, maybe suppose you just knew that fact off the top of your head. I mean, I'm realizing right now that I don't really know much about your background. And, I mean, you really could be very well versed in the courting habits of the knights in the Middle Ages, or maybe you just already have a background in Fae that you thought to be extinct. I mean, you do work with the Queen's Forest as a ranger, so the potential for you to stumble across that kind of information is just high, just because of the relation to your current occupation. And it would be a little bit selfish of me to think that I would be the only source that you might hear that kind of information from. Oh. You did learn it from me. Right. Okay. So anyway, why are you out here? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, actually, that might have sounded a little bit standoffish. I didn't intend for that. I meant it more casually, like, oh, what brings you to this part of the forest? But also, now that I say that out loud, it kind of sounds like I'm trying to pick you up with a cheesy line, and I can assure you that that is not my intention at all. I mean, not that I don't find you to be desirable to pick up. It's just that, I mean, if the situation were different, then I could potentially see myself maybe... Actually, that is not what I meant. I am just wondering what brought you here. Like, if something happened that you were trying to tell me about, or, I mean, there could be all sorts of reasons that you might need me to come back to the camp earlier than I was anticipating. Like, maybe there was an abnormality on the readings of the runes that we set up, or maybe you were feeling dizzy after you hit your head and you needed me to check if you had a concussion, or maybe even that the firewood that I gathered earlier was starting to run out and you were really needing me to go and get some more so you weren't straining yourself too much. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that I'm wondering if it's a situation like that, or if you just decided to come to the forest to find me. Oh, yes, it is getting late in the day. Yeah, okay, yeah, well, that is fair. I was going to come back in just a moment. I was just distracted by the will-o'-the-wisp that popped up. It's out a little bit early, and so I was taking a moment to admire it before the sun was fully set. It's not one of the Fae that I came to study, and we're still very far from the wards, but that doesn't mean that it's not worthy of me admiring it for a few moments. Well, actually, will-o'-the-wisps are what inspired me to pursue my career as a researcher. When I was a little girl in elementary school, my class participated in a nature hike in the Queen's Forest. The ranger who led our tour was so confident and knowledgeable about the Fae and the forest, and I just remember thinking that she was so cool because she got to be outside with the Fae all day, working on conservation efforts of their environment. To me, she was a superhero who was protecting the forest and all the creatures inside, both big and small. I was enamored. When we got towards the end of our hike, I did fall a little bit behind the rest of my class because I didn't want it to end, and that's when I saw a little will-o'-the-wisp peeking out from under the darkness of the trees. I came home and told my mom that, hey, the will-o'-the-wisp was leading me to destiny, when in actuality it was a singular will-o'-the-wisp, and, well, without the rest of them, they are incapable of pointing toward the strings of fate, but... Anyways, you don't need to know that. The ranger chased me down, actually, and when she got there, she was so excited to see that wisp that I thought that I had found gold. Even my teacher had to show up because the ranger didn't want to leave to take me back to the class. She just wanted to watch that little wisp, bobbing and weaving on the current. It was magical. I wanted to be able to create that reckless joy in someone just as the ranger did for me. But, well, here I am now. By the way, Scout, Have you made your decision? Did you decide if you're going to take me back to Ashwood or if we're going to be continuing our research trip? Oh, I see. No, it's totally fine. Actually, I had a feeling that you were going to say that. I mean, I understand as much as I want this so desperately, and maybe I'm too much of a hazard for me to actually be able to do this competently, and maybe I should just let someone else handle this, and I'm sure that there are other researchers now who are willing to try again. I mean, they must be all healed up after those incidents with the slimes, and maybe some of them have changed their mind about this. I'm not upset. I mean, I'm not upset. So, I'll just go get packed up for us to go then. I take it we'll be leaving first thing in the morning. Yeah. That's what I thought. Anyways, I mean, I'm sure that there are positives to this. I can't think of any right now, but Wait. Scout? You, you didn't have happened to, you didn't happen to throw all of our stuff on the ground, did you? Oh, no. Well, I mean, if you didn't, then there might be some logical explanations as to why all of our belongings are out of the bags and on the ground. I mean, we are very far from the wards because of the whole thing with the griffin carrying me off and you being too injured after the spill in the river, but then that just means that... Scout? I don't think we're alone out here. Because I think we were robbed.